One of the most common questions we get at Family Tree is, do I really need to fertilize my plants? And the simple answer is yes, you do. Do you like to eat? I do, and our plants like it as well. And what we talk about when we're talking about feeding a plant or giving them plant food is fertilizer. That fertilizer comes in a wide variety of options. Oftentimes you'll be at a garden center looking for a fertilizer and you're, which one do I choose for my plant? And in the market, they've made all of these names for different fertilizers that might say something very specific to your plant. Like a product that says a fertilizer for tomatoes or a fertilizer for African violets, or name that plant and there might be a fertilizer that's specifically labeled with that. But the reality is plants don't read the label. Plants need three main things. Those are the three macronutrients. It's nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Today we're going to walk you through some of the basics around fertilizing, understanding that the macronutrients are the most important nutrients and the different ways in which you can deliver those to your plants for them to thrive, for them to bloom, and ultimately for them to produce for you. They're either producing blooms, fruit, or leaves. So let's get into it. So knowing that every plant needs nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, fertilizers can deliver that to plant material in different formulations. Well, we're going to talk about some of the basics around fertilizing or some of the main options that you've got. So you've got a water-soluble option, where this is a fertilizer and there's a whole array of these fertilizers that can be dissolved in water, or you might find them already in a liquid form that's in a concentrate that you'll actually dilute to deliver to your plant. So when you're delivering this to a plant and you make it into a solution, it's ultimately available to the plant in that moment. When it's dissolved in water, you water the plant in, it's instantaneously available to that root system where they can absorb that nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Now, besides a water-soluble option, you also have a controlled release option. The way a controlled release option works is that it is an osmotic pelleted fertilizer, and when water goes into the pellet, it pushes out the nutrition from that pellet. So these little polymer-coated pellets ultimately are sitting in the pot and they're not disappearing, they're pushing nutrients out. And so that polymer-coated pellet will release that nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium to the plant every time that it gets wet. So every time that you water or every time that the rainfall hits it, it will release to the plant. So if you're in an environment where it's not getting water, let's just say it's indoors inside your house, this isn't as effective as a water-soluble option would be. These coated polymers have to have water hit them and then they push the nutrients out. Depending on the environment, depends on how long these will last out in a landscape or in a container. I love using these for containerized plants like hanging baskets, potted plants, and even in the landscape, as long as you've got a good way for irrigation to hit these pellets. So this is a really good option. And then of course, you've got organic options. The way organic fertilizers work is they actually have to break down in the environment. The way that they break down is through microscopic organisms called microbes. And on a lot of the organic fertilizer options, they'll actually see on the side of the package these beneficial bacteria that are inside the product already, which is basically like inoculating it with a bacteria or a microorganism that can eat and chew and dissolve the product that's in there. This is a chicken waste product. And so this has to break down because roots of the plant don't eat chicken waste. What they eat is nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. The way that we can deliver that to the plant is through the microorganisms eating it, breaking it down. Ultimately, those microorganisms die, and as their bodies die, they release the nutrition back to the plants where roots can absorb it in the form of nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium. Knowing that you've got these options, selecting the right option for your environment and for your plant is essential. With these fertilizers, they all have different formulations. The nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium, those three things are in every fertilizer on the label, and it's in that order every single time. So on a fertilizer label, you'll always see three numbers. On this one, for example, it's 24, 7, 15. That's 24 is the nitrogen, 7 phosphorus, and 15 is the potassium. What that means is that if there were 100 pounds of this product, 24 pounds of it would be nitrogen, 7 phosphorus, 15 potassium. And so this is how many pounds of this product if there were 100. So think of this as percentages of how much you're giving to the plant. Now, each plant, depending on what you're trying to do, will require different amounts, and that's where we can help you select that product. If you want to go with something that's really easy to remember, is if you're watering your plants inside, indoors, fertilize them once a month. That makes it really easy so that you can not overfeed them, but also so that you are just routinely giving them some nutrition. When we water things in containers, every time you water, it's slowly leaching through that soil and pulling nutrition out. That's why in containers you have to fertilize more frequently. Or in the ground, if you can create a really good environment with an organic fertilizer, it'll actually culture an environment where that nitrogen, phosphorus, and potassium can continue to develop by adding microorganisms to it. So it's a really good, healthy way, but those microorganisms have to continually have something to chew on, something to eat in order to turn it back into those elements. This is a really safe way to do it, a non-burning way to do it with controlled release fertilizers. You can broadcast these across the ground or in containers. And again, every time that it's watered, it'll release the nutrition back to the plants. So there's 3 different ways that you can do it. Depending on your level of engagement, your time, and your schedule, you can choose one of these that best fits your situation. Inside plants, I like water soluble. Outside plants, I like controlled release or an organic option. On my edible things, I'm using the organic options. On my flowers that I need to produce flowers all season long, like in hanging baskets or containers, I'm using things like the controlled release fertilizer. Ultimately, knowing what you're trying to accomplish, we can then help direct which type of fertilizer and which situation you're going to want. Because inside your house, if you're fertilizing a plant with an organic chicken waste product, it's going to smell like a chicken coop inside your home, and you may not want that. A couple important things to remember is how frequent to do it. Your inside plants, I like to fertilize them once a month. Your outdoor plants in containers and flower pots need to be fertilized once a month. Your landscape plants can be fertilized quarterly, so 4 times a year would be awesome. And there's all sorts of other options out there of timing. Always follow the label on the fertilizers to make sure that you're doing it according to the label. Remember that your healthy plant starts with a healthy root system. Fertilizer is the key to that. They need sunlight, they need air and oxygen, and they need nutrition. They need water. And it's our job as gardeners to take care of our plants, and it all starts with the roots. It starts with the foundation. If you can build a healthy root system, you'll be so rewarded with blooms, with fruit, with beauty. And that's what we want you to do to succeed. So come see us at Family Tree Nursery. We'll help get you started. We'll help get you on the right track. Started out with the right fertilizer to get your plants growing today. Hey, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. That will help push it out to others. And if you want to see more content like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you'll never miss an update. Thanks for spending time with us.